Hey team, it's Ryan. We are in the Chicago O'Hare Lowe's Hotel and we're here for the AVMA Wellbeing Summit. We're getting ready for dinner after we've finished our sessions. But one of the things that, as we're walking around, there's a really cool art installations all around the hotel, and it made me think about the difference between trauma and PTSD. First, to talk about trauma tends to be a singular event. It could be, as a child, you fell into a hornet's nest and you were stung 100 times, so thereby you have a fear or phobia of hornets, right? So that would typically be a trauma. It could also be something you witness, anything, but it tends to be one particular event. And this huge painting that takes up a whole wall here behind me represents a trauma. And that's basically, it's one event happens and it goes from 0 to 100. On the other hand, post-traumatic stress, PTSD as many would call it, and ultimately leading into post-traumatic growth, is a series of accumulated stress factors. Some can be big, some can be small, but this installation here behind me, which is a bunch of smaller events, and maybe even skip some time, but then there's a whole lot of other events. And those accumulated events are what many times we would call post-traumatic stress, because it's accumulated stress factor until there's ultimately one event that sends things over the edge. So post-traumatic stress, think of it as series of events. And we talk about that in the veterinary industry because when you're dealing with lots and lots of little micro traumas, so to speak, euthanasias, traumas, all the different things that you're having to deal with, all the little events that happens in your life and in your staff's life, all these things, that is the accumulated stress factor until you reach a point where maybe burnout, but you just literally flip your lid and you just kind of go off the deep end for a lot of people, right? So that would be your PTSD. But I found a huge metaphor in these paintings. A giant trauma, one event, lots of little events, maybe even skip some time to other little events where ultimately we have post-traumatic stress from all that. If you have questions on the difference, you want to handle the traumas, you want to handle some of the things that are dealing with PTSD, post-traumatic stress for you, and you're already seeing a mental health professional, you really want to get it from a coaching perspective, hit us up, send us a direct message, put private in it, we'll schedule some time, no charge, let's talk about it, let's figure out what's going on with you and see what we can do to help you. So this is Ryan, have a great one, we'll talk to you real soon, see ya. Finish strong 2019, go into 2020 with momentum. See ya.